We've all been there, right? It's the hottest day of the year, an absolute scorcher, and that's the exact moment your air conditioner decides to just give up. But is that just bad luck, or is there something a little more sinister going on behind the scenes? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain, decode the hidden enemies of your AC, and show you exactly how to fight back.
You know that feeling, don't you? The first big heat wave of the summer hits, the air gets all thick and heavy, and then suddenly your house goes quiet, and it starts getting warmer minute by minute. It feels like some kind of cruel joke from the universe, but really, it's not random at all. It's just the final straw in a long, silent battle that your air conditioner has been fighting all year long.
So to really understand this battle, we need to go to a place that's basically a graveyard for air conditioners, coastal Florida. Seriously, this is one of the toughest environments for an AC unit anywhere on the planet. Down here, your HVAC system isn't just cooling your house, it's trying to survive a constant multi-front assault from the climate itself.
Now, this enemy comes in three main forms. First up, you've got this corrosive salt air that's always drifting in from the ocean. It creates a chemical reaction that literally eats away at the metal parts of your outdoor unit. Then there's the relentless suffocating humidity. This forces your system to work overtime, not just cooling the air, but also wringing gallons and gallons of water out of it. And finally, you get those classic summer thunderstorms, which bring damaging power surges that can fry your system's sensitive electronics in the blink of an eye.
So what does this all really mean for your air conditioner? Well, it means it's running almost non-stop from April all the way through October. It's kind of like forcing an athlete to run a marathon every single day with zero rest and zero recovery. This constant extreme stress is exactly what leads directly to premature and often catastrophic failure.
All that environmental stress eventually pushes the system right past its breaking point. And when it does fail, you know what? It almost always fails in one of four very predictable ways. These are the most common reasons you're going to be making that frantic call for a repair technician.
Okay, failure number one. This is one of the most common and, honestly, most insidious issues out there. And it's a direct result of that corrosive salt air we were just talking about. We're talking about refrigerant leaks. You see, that corrosive air creates these microscopic pinholes in the delicate copper coils of your system. And through these tiny, tiny holes, the refrigerant, which is the absolute lifeblood of your AC, slowly but surely escapes. You'll notice it when your system seems to be running all the time. Your electric bill is climbing, but the house just never feels truly cool anymore. But hey, salt air isn't the only enemy. All that moisture your AC pulls from the humid air, that creates another really messy problem, the dreaded clogged drain line.
Your AC basically acts like a giant dehumidifier, right? It's pulling gallons of water out of the air every single day. That water is supposed to drain out through a narrow pipe. But the constant moisture creates this perfect breeding ground for algae and mold, which eventually grows into this slimy, disgusting blockage. And when that happens, the water has nowhere to go. It backs up and overflows, a lot of times inside your attic or your walls, leading to thousands of dollars in water damage.
All right, the third common failure is an electrical one. It's kind of like a silent killer that often strikes without any warning during a summer storm. And it involves a tiny component that has a huge job. I want you to think of capacitors as the spark plugs for the big motors in your AC, the compressor and the fan. They provide that powerful jolt of electricity needed to get things moving. But when a thunderstorm causes a power surge or a brownout, it can easily fry these sensitive little parts. The classic symptom is hearing your outdoor unit just humming. It's trying to start, but the fan and compressor just won't kick on. And our final common failure is a really strange one. It's a paradox, really. Your air conditioner, the machine designed specifically to fight heat, actually gets too cold and literally freezes itself into a solid block of ice. So this happens when something blocks the airflow that's supposed to be moving over the indoor coil. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, the culprit is something as simple as a dirty, clogged air filter. Without enough warm air from your house moving across that super chilled coil, the moisture on it just flash freezes. Then ice builds on ice until the whole unit is encased, completely blocking any air from passing through. The system will run and run, but you'll feel absolutely nothing coming out of the vents.
So, your AC is dead, and now you're faced with the big, expensive question. Do you gamble on a costly repair, or do you just cut your losses and replace the whole system? It's a really high-stakes decision, but this next tool can help you make the right call.
It's called the $5,000 rule.
And honestly, it's a fantastic piece of financial shorthand that strips all the emotion out of the decision and gives you a clear, data-driven benchmark to work with. Okay, here's how it works. Let's say you have a system that's 12 years old and a technician tells you the repair is going to cost $500. You simply multiply the age, which is 12, by the cost, 500. The result is $6,000. Now, since that number is greater than $5,000, it's a really strong financial signal that you're about to pour good money into a system that's already on its last legs. In this case, replacement might just be the smarter long-term investment.
Of course, the best strategy is to avoid that whole emergency decision in the first place. So these next few slides, this is your defensive playbook. This is your secret weapon for protecting your AC and extending its life.
First up is the 3-minute rule. Think of your AC's compressor like a sprinter. If they suddenly stop, they need a moment to catch their breath before they can take off again, right? Same idea. If your power blinks or you've been messing with the thermostat, wait at least 3 full minutes before you turn the AC back on. Restarting it too quickly forces the compressor to work against immense internal pressure, and that can cause severe, permanent damage. It's a super simple, totally free way to protect the most expensive part of your entire system.
Now, if you do decide it's time to replace your system, timing is everything. The absolute worst time to buy is in the middle of a July heat wave. Demand is at its peak, companies are charging emergency prices, and you might have to wait for days in the sweltering heat for an installation. The best time? The off-season. In the fall or early winter, demand is low, contractors are hungry for work, and manufacturers are often offering their best rebates of the year.
And that really brings us to the most important point of all. An HVAC expert summed it up perfectly with this quote: "In a tough climate, maintenance isn't a luxury, it's a necessity." Proactive care is what separates a system that gives you a long, reliable service life from one that dies an early, expensive, and totally predictable death.
So, as we head into the next heat wave, I want you to remember this. Your air conditioner isn't just a metal box sitting outside your house. It's a soldier on the front lines, fighting a daily war against heat, humidity, and corrosion. And the real question is, are you going to let it fight that battle all alone, or are you going to give it the support it needs to win? The choice really is yours.